Every loss is a lesson. No matter what kind of loss you have, look at it as is a good thing to lose. You have the ability to lose. That is a blessing. It's the same thing with things like pressure. Yes, pressure might not be the most comfortable scenario, might not be the most comfortable situation, and you might view it as a loss, but pressure is a blessing because the reason you're having pressure is because people are putting you on this pedestal of like greatness, right? So this is why you have pressure, because you're trying to meet these standards, and it can suck. It's a bad feeling, but think about it as it's a blessing to have pressure. You have people that view you as this at this level, or you have things for yourself that puts you at pressure. So you put yourself in the pressure's way, if that makes sense. So you're like, you really want to be this certain thing, so you put a lot of pressure on yourself to do that thing, and that could be very beneficial. It could also be very bad too, though, because too much pressure can hold you down. But if you allow it to propel you forward, then that is a good thing. Now back to what I was saying on losses. Every loss is a lesson that you have. Every loss you go through, it is always teaching you a lesson of some sort, if you choose to view it that way. If you don't, it won't teach you anything. Think about it this way. A really bad loss would be, for example, you were in a 3-year relationship and you got cheated on, right? Now in your head, you'd probably be like, well, that's a very terrible thing. I wouldn't want to go through that. And I'm not saying you should want to go through that. But what I am saying is that it teaches you a lesson. It teaches you whatever lesson you choose to learn. It can teach you that one thing. It teach you so many different things. It can teach you that time doesn't mean anything. You were with her for 3 years and you still got cheated on. You were with him for 3 years. You still got cheated on. So time means nothing. It could also mean that for you, and this would be a very dramatic lesson, but for you might be like, you can't trust anybody. Now, do I personally believe that? No, but some people might believe that because somebody who they trusted for 3 years and they were going to have these plans for their future just threw them away like that. So it all comes down to, what lesson are you willing to learn out of these losses? You buy something for cheap and it gets to you and you're so excited, right? And it's good for a first day, but then after a few days, right, it breaks. Now what happens? You can choose to pout over it, right? Or you could choose to learn from it. Well, maybe next time I should put just a little bit more money in if I want this thing to last, not just one day, but to last a lifetime or however long, whatever thing it is. But the point of these is they're all mini lessons to create your own character, right? You lose in everything, and you can either use it as a loss or you can use it as a lesson. I know you've probably heard this many times, especially with the whole motivational videos on like TikTok and stuff, but it's true though. Losses are all lessons. You have friends that turn their back on you. You would look at it as a loss, but if you change your mindset and you look at it as a lesson, you'd be like, okay, maybe these traits with this person, or maybe you look back at it, right? And you'd be like, well, I should have seen that from the beginning. They never changed. I kept asking them. I kept telling them what my problem was. They never changed. I should have seen that. So next time when something like this happens and it's a continuous just never changing, it's a good idea to pull myself out of that relationship or friendship, right? So that's what I'm saying. You learn stuff from it. You learn patterns. You learn traits. That's how the human brain works. And sometimes it can bite you for the worst, because you might have a negative trait in this person, and then somebody that is really good that comes in your life might share something similar to it, and now you're automatically going to think that, oh, well, this person's going to do everything like that. And that might not be necessarily true. So I think you just got to be careful with what you do. I'd say keep an open mind. Don't let your guard down. Keep them up. But give people a chance to kind of speak, because there's people that, it happened to me a bunch, girls I'd talk to, they wouldn't even give me a chance to talk. It's just the moment they see me, they would classify me as a player or somebody who's just going to hoe around or get with a bunch of women or whatever. And that's just not how I am as a person. I am not that way. I am very godlike. I have very traditional values. I'm not the type of person to just screw one girl and then go off to the next. That's not me. So it shows you how people kind of are, right? Because they're going to associate with their past experiences, or just the fact, like for my situation, they thought I was good looking in the scenario. Otherwise, why would they say I'm a player? You're never going to say that somebody ugly gets so much tail or whatever. Not saying I do, I don't. But it's like a compliment that you never want to hear, right? I don't know if you guys have ever had that situation, or if you ever had that situation that you get these type of compliments that you're like, yeah, it's technically a good thing, but at the same time, I don't want to hear that either. Which I don't. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear people saying I'm a hoe when I haven't even done anything. I don't want to hear that stuff. I want to be known for positivity and having traditional values and being a good person, not screwing people over every chance I get, getting these people to fall in love with me and then just taking them out of my life. Like that's bullshit. I don't believe that. I think you're messing with people's brains, and I think it's, in my opinion, it's a piece of shit thing to do. But do you? And some people do that out of, once again, they don't learn their lesson. So or they do learn a lesson, just a negative lesson. So you hear this a lot. Somebody gets cheated on, so now they go and get with 20 different women or 20 different guys, cheat on all of them, bang them once, and they're done, right? Everybody hears that. It's like the revenge or whatever. And I think in reality, that's not revenge. That's like the worst revenge to have, because you're allowing this one thing, and yes, it's bad, but you're allowing this one thing to ruin your whole character. So you went from this loyal person who is traditional, if that is how you were. You obviously had some type of loyalty with this person, otherwise you wouldn't be angry that they cheat on you, right? So you had a sense of loyalty, and now all of a sudden you're throwing that away because this one person ruined it for you. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. Relationships are one of the hardest things you could probably ever get into. You overthink a lot. You think, oh, well, this girl didn't text me back at this certain time, or man, this guy, he's not responding to me. Maybe he's with another girl. And it's overthinking is a big problem. And another thing is jealousy, and you got all these problems, and loyalty, and overthinking, and dishonesty, and honesty, and you don't know what's what, and the whole point is it's all a risk, right? You're risking this stuff. And the reason why I'm using these ideas for this video is because this is, I think, one of the most primary examples of like lessons to be learned, right? Don't change your whole character because you lost one time, right? You got cheated on. Don't necessarily change your character because of that. Instead, I would say build on your character, improve it more, because that is what's going to get you far. And then you stay true to yourself in the long run, so you win either way. Why are you changing yourself because one bad thing happened to you? I've had friends screw me over time and time again. Am I ever going to just screw over every person that walks into my life? No, but it teaches me that time does not mean anything. I had friends for 10 years that turned their back on me. All right, I'm back, but I had to pause because my parents were outside. I don't like having them listen in on like me yapping to the camera. But basically what I was saying is I had friends for like 10 years that after all that time, they still screwed me over in the end. And what this lesson taught me is not necessarily to like become a bad friend to everybody around me, right? I would not do that. But it teaches me that time, it does not mean anything. It really doesn't. It's just it's like a celebration for you to last a certain period, right? Oh yeah, I'm not saying like things like anniversaries, like that's cool, but I'm saying like if you really think about it, it's just a celebration of you lasting that long. It's not really like fulfilling in a sense. So that's what I'm saying, like time does not mean anything. Your marriage, time does not mean nothing. Yes, it's great you were together for 20 years, but if the next year you get cheated on, now the whole 20 years is gone. So I'm not saying don't cherish that. Like that's great. You're glad you guys lasted that long, and that's amazing. But don't get too caught up in time, because you never know when someone gets stabbed you in the back. There's plenty of relationships or marriages that lasted 30 years, and all of a sudden somebody got cheated on, or it just didn't work out, or it wasn't clicking the same, and you know, you find more value in different things when it comes to relationships, not necessarily just so much in time. That's what I get taught from these experiences for mine. This goes for, just because it was a friend, it also kind of lets me think of it in a relationship sense too, right? That time doesn't mean anything. Find value in other factors other than how long you've been friends or how long you've been boyfriend, girlfriend, or married, or whatever it is. I feel like that's what gets people far. When you get super caught up in time, it's like addiction, right? You're trying to just quit smoking, but you keep counting how long you've been quitting, or you quit, right? Oh yeah, I've stopped smoking for 3 months, and the next thing you know, you keep telling yourself this, and then all of a sudden the urge just comes back, and it comes back, and it sneaks up on you, and then all of a sudden you smoked. You just broke the record. Now you're going again. You're like, oh yeah, just last a year, smoke. Oh man, I gotta start over again. Oh, that's 2 years. Stop being so worried about the time. Just quit. Don't worry about the year, the day, the second. Just quit. It's great you were done with it for that long, but stop keeping track of how long you've been away from this. It should be forever, right? You want to quit. Make it forever, not just for 2 years. That is the point. That is the type of lessons that I've learned from these kind of things. Another thing is that, and the more serious one, which I believe but I don't believe at the same time, is you can't trust anybody. And I'm not saying in a literal sense like as if you can't trust anybody, but what I am saying is keep boundaries up when you do first meet people. Even for like the first, sometimes year, depending, just until you feel comfortable. But don't just jump in and just trust them with all your heart. That is not smart. But it goes the same thing with the other way. Don't just think they're just liars and pieces of shit before you even know them, right? It's both ways. There's a really positive that's bad, and there's a really negative that's bad. Meet in the middle. Have boundaries. Listen to them. You know, you can kind of tell, some people can't, but some people can kind of tell, like, when you hear someone talk, you just know what's coming out of their mouth is just bullshit, or you're just like, that's just not even true. We all know that guy who lies about literally everything, or that girl that lies about everything, and you just know they're lying through their teeth. That kind of thing, it's like that. But if you know, like, if nothing's telling you, like, in your gut, and you're just like, it doesn't seem like they're lying, or why would they lie about that? Yes, you could be wrong in the sense, but that's the whole point of friendships and relationships. You're taking a risk. You're taking a risk on this person to be in your life. You get screwed in the end sometimes, but sometimes, if you just take the chance on the right person, you never know what could happen. You're not guaranteed anything when you take a chance on somebody, but you are guaranteed something when you don't take a chance on somebody, right? And that is, you're guaranteed no friends out of that relationship. You're guaranteed no boyfriend, girlfriend out of that relationship. You're guaranteed no marriage out of that relationship, whatever it is. And sometimes that is a good thing, because some people are not meant to be, right? But don't do it to the good people in your life. Don't just throw them out because of what other people did to you. That would be dumb. So just learn from your losses. You're not really losing, you're learning. That is the point. No matter how bad the situation is, no matter if somebody passed away, you always learn a lesson. You don't lose anything. When my great uncle passed away, I was really close with him. And I would go over to his house, we'd play Black Ops 2, you know, all this stuff. And we'd play zombies, and you know, every time I go over, he would set up this room. Whether it was just the standard living room or if it was the gaming room in the back. In the gaming room in the back, if me and my brother came over, he'd set it up without us even knowing. It would all be set up, game system, everything. And I kind of cherish those times, right? And because he ended up passing away due to lung cancer from smoking. But what it taught me, in that sense, is that don't be upset that it ended. Be happy that it happened. And I know that's a quote, I don't know from where, I want to say Dr. Seuss, but it's true though. Because when you really put it in your own life, you're like, yes, it sucks. He's gone forever. I won't ever see him again until maybe I see him in heaven. But one thing I can guarantee is I'll be happy that I got to meet him. I can be happy that he was in my life. That simple. So you can literally learn a lesson out of any loss, whether that's a human, a pet, a loss of just a general, like just loss, like you lost a basketball game, you lost a soccer game, whatever it is, or maybe you failed. You're learning. I use learning language a lot as an example because that's what I'm particularly doing or reading, and I need to use different examples for different people. But I'm sorry for that. But when I fail at like learning a language, like I'm like, oh man, I didn't get that sentence right, and then I start telling myself, oh, I'm never gonna be able to learn this. Those losses teach you something because you're taking the risk on yourself to lose. Most people don't even try to learn anything. So the fact that I can even lose is a blessing. So that's how the way I look at it. Because like I get up on myself all the time. Like, this is hard. Like I'm never gonna understand this. And the next thing you know, an eye opener. I watch YouTube video. I see this guy do this or that. I'm like, man, that actually clicks. That makes sense. I start forming sentences. I see if it's right. It's right. I'm like, holy shit, I'm actually getting onto this. All because I just stuck with it. Yes, I'm losing, but I'm learning the lessons from my losses. I'm learning from my mistakes. It's as simple as that. So you need to do the same. Sometimes when you doubt yourself the most, that's when you should keep going. When other people doubt you, that's even more of a reason to keep going. So it's the same for you. It's the same for if I doubt you, or if your teacher doubts you, or if your friend doubts you, or whatever. You should keep going. Never stop. Doubt is a sign that you're on the right track because you're doing something different, right? Doubt it occurs because you're doing something different and you don't think you're gonna be able to accomplish said thing because of you doing this different thing, or you're doing something new. That's why you doubt. Why would you doubt? Because you're doing something you've always done. Am I gonna doubt that I'm gonna fall asleep today? No, because I've always done it. So it only comes with like new things. And I know I'm getting a little off track here and I'm kind of just going all over the place, but yes, doubt is a good thing. So let me just go back on track. Learn from your losses. Your losses are lessons. No matter what it is, business, language, books, reading, whatever, video games, it really can be anything, relationships, it's all a lesson. Just make sure you learn the right lesson from these things. Do not let your soul turn black and negative because one bad thing happens to you, right? Learn from it and keep moving forward and become a better person. Do not let things like cheating change your whole personality and you just like put a mask on who you really are. That is a terrible thing to do. You are going to be in it for a while. Just don't. Learn from it. And if anything, learn from them for being bad people to you and just learn, you know what? I know how this feels. I got cheated on. I know how this feels. So I'm never going to do this to anybody else. I don't want them to go through that hardship. And you never know. Sometimes, I don't want to like scare you, but sometimes you might get cheated on again and again and again and again. And it sucks. And there are people out there that do like this, or that happen like this, right? There are people that this stuff happens to them. But I think just turning away from your soul and your character is like a terrible thing to do. It just shows how weak you are. You're changing from who you are completely as a person because somebody did you wrong. Newsflash, everybody gets done wrong. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are or how bad of a person you are. You will always get done wrong at some point in your life if you even make friends or anything. Like, that's the truth. Some people might not even socialize at all, but I don't think that's true. If you have any type of socialization with any person, at some point, you're pretty much guaranteed, probably like 98% chance you'll get done wrong at some point. And that's not to scare you, but that's to keep you pushing forward to find the right people. Because good things don't come easy. It's as simple as that. So, with that being said, stay true to your character, learn from your losses, learn from your mistakes, learn the right lessons. Don't just take this as a lesson like you get you on, oh yeah, this teaches me that I need to go do it to other people. No. That is not what that teaches you. That teaches you the opposite. Don't ever do that to somebody. Be the better person. There's pieces of shit out there that they have a wife at home they have a baby on the way, and they still cheat on them. There are pieces of shit out there that are like that, and don't be that person. These people are disgusting. And I know I'm generally known for, or not really known right now, but I make videos based on positivity, but that is the truth though. These people are like pieces of shit. They don't care. They have a kid on the way. They let their lack of self-control get in the way, and it just shows how weak you are, especially as a man. Like, that just shows how weak you are as a person. Woman or what? Well, I don't think a woman would cheat while she has a kid, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But there are men out there that are like that, and there are women out there that will cheat on you even though, like, you've tried everything, you've done everything. You're the good person. You open the door for her, you do this, you do that, you give her favors, you do this, and then she just cheats on you anyways. It goes both ways. But don't let these things shape who you are as a person. Become a better person, live your life, stay true to your character, learn from your lessons, and as always, I don't know why I did that, life isn't too short to make a change.